Brought to you in association with Grendel Press. This is Werewolf the Podcast, a serial killer drama.
Well, hello. Shut up. I have just had a game of pick-up fingers with my new friend Ben. Say hi, Ben. No? Did you ever play pick-up sticks as a kid? This is nothing like that, but it was where the idea stemmed from. Say hello, Ben. Oh, we're not talking now, are we, Benny Wenny? Oh, sorry. This is Will Your Werewolf, and this is episode 89, something like that, of Werewolf the Podcast. I've had a studio added to my home now so that I can do this podcasting thing even better. Hope you're all doing fine. Shut up. Sorry, that's Ben. He came over to play. I've got this new fast food app. It's called Grinder. Amazingly, you find the nearest horny guy to you and they come over to yours to come. They walk right into your house and are more or less up for anything. Anyway, back to the news. I have built a wonderful studio in my warehouse where a werewolf works. A werewolf in a warehouse. Shut up. You lost, Ben. It's not my fault. Well, I suppose it is. We just played pick-up fingers. What you do is you have two players. Hey, Ben. One of them is, I suppose, like the dungeon master. Maybe the finger master. Finger master. Sounds rude. The finger master, as I will now refer to myself, controls the game while the other plays. Ben here came over for sex, and when offered a line or two, if you know what I mean, he mistakenly assumed it was cocaine. Hey, Ben. It wasn't, was it, Ben? No, it was ketamine. That's right, Ben, ketamine. I said ketamine, Ben. And Ben, you took fuckloads. We then played a game. The game was simple. I cut all of Ben's fingers off, and for you pedantic fucks, I also include the thumbs in that. And he had to simply pick them up. If he picked all 10 up off the table in 2 minutes, a reasonable length of time I think, then I would call an ambulance and put his fingers in ice and send them off with him. If he managed 5, then I would take him to A&E just without his fingers. Less than that, well, he doesn't get to leave at all, do you now, Ben? Oh dear, Ben only managed 3. Excuse me for a moment. Malcolm, can you come and clear this up? I want to record a podcast here. Now, is that okay? Yeah. What? Okay. Right, back to my story. My first transformed kill. I stood at the wooden fence surrounding the green grassy field. A green grassy field full of grass, ponies and, well, pony shit to be honest. The boy and his wolf soul. Fenrir is what I call my posit. Come on people, you should know all about him by now. Please listen to some more episodes if not. He chose me when I was a tiny baby. He's the soul of a wolf freely given on one winter night hundreds of years ago to save a local tribe of wolves and a pack of feral humans. I've gone into the how and the why and the where and the whatever and all that bollocks in other stories. Please go listen to him. I'd done my first werewolf transformation when I was younger and I'd killed before as a human, as you well know. But this was the first time I got to try the new transformation body. The wolf and the werewolf. The before and after. I was very excited, and I have to say Fen was also very excited. I had been dreaming of this day for many years, and it was finally happening. It was dusk, and we watched the farming family fade away in the distance in their fucked up Ford Focus. They were going out for the evening doing family-related family things. We had ensured they'd be away for the next 4 or 5 hours so they wouldn't add up to the possible variables in this evening's experiments. Fen, as usual, was being a great teacher. He considered everything and instructed me under the best conditions. Obviously, the best conditions for me may not be the best for others around us. He was ensuring I would wolf out in the safest environment possible. Well, for me. We did not want anybody walking in at this point and ending up on the menu or confusing this evening's plans. I mean, that'd be like a happy bonus in the future, but it may have been too much right now. I mean, this would be my first time in wolf's clothing, using the tools that, my link to my posit had now given me. It was all very exciting. Have I mentioned how exciting all this was? I think I may have mentioned how exciting this is once or twice. After 8 years of knowing how to do this shit, I could finally wolf out fully. I would rape, kill and consume, using my new body. Honestly, it was a feeling of anticipation that I find difficult to explain to humans. I kind of link the feeling to something that you may understand. That is the feeling when you get, when you have sex for the first time with your new partner. Not the sex bit, the lead up to that, the fantastic feeling when you know you're going to get some. Let me take you back. Well, I don't know, maybe forward in time. Sorry, I assume you fucked. If not, it should feel something like this. Now focus. You sit on the edge of your prospective love's bed. Well, love may be a bit too much, but the new fuck's bed. Well, the bed may be a bit too much, I suppose. Replace the bed with the item that you're sitting on. Car seat, hay bale, park bench, for some of you a prison bunk. Knowing you're going to get it. You know it. That first fuck. You did realise that, did you not? Well, maybe not that feeling you get on the edge of the prison bunk. That might not be the same feeling. Depends. But in many situations it applies well. I often find that this sensation is better than the hot and sweaty sex that comes after it. Well, sort of ish. Well, that was the feeling I was feeling now. The excitement at the loss of a sort of form of virginity, I think. I was starting to feel alive truly, and this was the moment of coming of age. Fen had been preparing me for this moment and told me that on this day he would advise me how to kill and take down my prey in deep and despicable detail. So we stood at the fence. The horses in the paddock were trying to get as far away from as possible. They probably did that animal sensing thing of knowing that at the end of the field was a definite shithead getting ready to do some really shithead things to them. Fen turned and looked at me. He was a lot taller than I was then, so he had to hunch. He looked into my eyes and he told me the werewolf secret of taking down a prey item. Okay, well, there's no magic way to do this. You can take your time and you can kill them slowly, or you can rip them asunder and kill them instantly. You decide. With animals, I tend to kill them quickly. They don't really have a conscious understanding of the process. They have no ethics, no guilt, so to torture them is a little below us. Not that committing pain for pain's sake is bad, but in this case I want you to take these animals out with quick precision. The quick precision they deserve. I smiled and turned back to the horses in the distance as I felt the new itchy feeling pervade my skin from the change I would be going through. The hairs on the back of my neck were rising, I'm sure, and I could swear there were a lot more of them, and they were longer, and they were a lot longer than those that had been there before. Are you ready, Will? Asked a somewhat concerned Fen. He could see that I was getting excited. All I wanted to do was go play. All I could see were the 3 animals at the end of the field. I could sense the beating of their huge hearts. I could hear the breathing patterns as they held a little distress at my, I'll say it again, excitement. Fen, let's go, Fen. Come on, Fen, let's do it. I turned to Fen and he smiled a tooth-filled, wolfy smile as he slowly broke down into a black mist and forced himself into my body. As he entered me, I changed. My body inflated and my musculature increased. My legs became the trifold hind legs of the wolf. A wolfine face projected forward and fangs and carnassials lined my new jaws. I then became shrouded in the darkness of my luxuriant pelt. It is the blackest of matte blacks, so black it swallows the last of the evening's light, making me the black shadow in the night. None of this had been painful. None of that nonsense one sees in the movies. It was quick and pain-free. It was elating, not hurting, although sometimes those can be the same thing. I opened my eyes to my new upgraded sense of sight, my new focus in the night. Now the moonlight of the evening seemed like the sunlight of the day to these new eyes. My hearing was difficult to deal with at first. The sounds poured into my head. It was so loud and raucous that it took a few moments to get over the discombobulation that it caused me. I shook my head as I adapted. I had to concentrate so hard to differentiate the sounds around me. My ears were like individual radar dishes now. I could move them independently to pinpoint specific sounds and vibrations. It was so intense and immense, with the world being heard in a manner I would never have in my human form. I could hear the creaking of grass stems and actually the rattling of the seed heads at their apexes. I could listen to the grasshopper as he cleaned his wings, a nightly ritual before his sleep. I could hear now a sea of sound that became a noisescape for my delectation. Hearing now was as important to my sensual understanding of the world as my sight. Lastly, my olfactory senses became more than superficial. The sense of the world around me became everything. Closing my eyes, I could somehow still see. Not see, but see. It's hard to describe. My world was there in my head, but just with ears and a nose, and a composite world that was so deep in layers. The layers are added due to the depth in time afforded by the sense of smell. Vision is fleeting because of the photon speed, which makes that sense work. Photons travel at the speed of light, so vision is very in the instant moment of time. Once those photons have reflected and gone, it's over and done. No more. We keep seeing because of fresh reflections of new photons as they bounce off our subjects to provide us with fresh visions. Sound in the medium of air is somewhat slower. This is due to the slow speed of the energy that creates it. Sound vibrations linger a little longer, and we can sense them. And using an animal ear, we can triangulate the direction and the distance that those sounds stem from. We can find and locate them quickly if it creates a sound. But even sound is quick and gone, although in its way as valuable to me as light is to humans. The world of scent is something different. Smells dwell once left. They slowly dissipate, and I can get so much information from them that they're often more important than sight, especially when on the hunt or when being hunted. There is a reason why a hunted animal can often outfox the human hunters, as they have this one sense that can be the difference. I find it difficult to describe how a sense of smell seems, but I imagine scent as colourful hues left as something has gone by. As it slowly fades, we can follow the scent as it increases in strength as we get closer to its source. The sense goes much further than this. Incredibly, I can smell things like stress and illness. I can sense how fit something or someone is by the odour they release. So you can imagine that the world that I was now in was pretty full on. It was close to being overwhelming, but it was truly exciting. I hope you have the idea that it was really fucking exciting going through this. Now changed, I snorted the air downwind of the nervous animals at the end of the paddock. It was time now to do the thing I'd come here for. You know what it is, the murdering and the killing. I silently leapt the fence and landed on padded paws, feeling a sense of balance and strength that was unparalleled. Once settled, I ran towards my prey. The horses scattered and protested in snorts and screams. I followed as they scattered and separated an individual into the corner of the fenced area. It had nowhere to go and stood watching me, snickering and nervously swinging its tail. I slowly walked towards the horse and could feel its little mind in panic and fear at what stood before it. I was waiting for that moment. Fear would grab it and it would run. A tick in my jaw showed how I felt at that moment. I won't tell you I was excited, as I would probably be repeating myself a bit too often about being excited. But I was excited. Shit. It ran. I struck. My claw paw sliced into the hindquarters of the horse, 3 channels cut deep by sharpened natural blades evident at the tips of my werewolfy fingers. The animal didn't fall, but it screamed as the flesh was ripped away, thrilling sounds and smells. The horse's backside swung wild as it tried to stay on its feet, which impressively it did, but I caught it again in 2 strides and leapt onto its back, sinking my claws into its forelegs, burying them deep above the fetlocks on each side of the beast. I held my position and roared as the creature leapt skyward, all 4 feet free from the ground, jinking its body, trying to throw me from its back. I only just managed to maintain my position as the horse landed. I roared in triumph once more as I clamped my jaws onto the back of the running beast's neck. I felt my teeth come together around the spinal cord and crush it. The horse somehow ran on for another 2 steps before it realised it was dead and dropped to the floor. Me, its passenger, as it slid to the stop. The feeling was exhilarating. The blood ran in my throat. The moment was divine as the creature's death was realised. I was holding my breath as the horse lay now underneath me. It was waiting for it. I was waiting for it. That moment that I could experience in all its intensity and glory. It was a moment of utter truth. It sighed as life left it. The feeling was, orgasmic, as I knew I'd done that. I'd killed. I'd broken life. I had done something that nothing could fix. The sense of power that it gave me blew through my entire body. I was alive. I was the reason for its death. I climbed from the corpse and turned to find the other 2 animals, shaking my head, blood spitting and flying through the air. They stood in the paddock's corner watching me with fear and interest. I looked at my kill again before focusing on the new prey. Okay, I repeat it. It was exciting. I was overly excited at the prospect of fresh kills. I faced off the cornered creatures. The lead horse was a large black stallion who started pawing the ground with his dinner plate-sized hooves. It was a warning that I should back off, that he was frightened, but he would fight if necessary. He stamped his front feet into the dust that lifted into the air while he whinnied his protests at my proximity. I maybe stupidly ignored his warning and carried on my slow walk to get to the beast. As I got closer, he backed up until he had nowhere to go. Then without warning he reared, kicking out with the hooves of his front legs in my direction while swinging his massive head to butt me. It was a warning not worth ignoring. It was thrilling to behold. The huge, handsome beast was trying to stand his ground against me. I circled, and he again stamped his warning as I approached. He was not going to go down easy. Good. Foolishly, I ignored his threats and crept ever closer. He reared once more, but this time I was ready, and leapt at the beast to snap at his exposed throat. I timed it poorly, and the horse fell on me with both front legs, knocking me to the ground and then giving me a few stamps and kicks as I scrambled away, a little bruised and humbled by the experience. This creature could still hurt me with some defiance. I now knew that taking this animal head-on was not a sensible method of attack. I would have to scare him into running and bring him down as I followed. I jigged to the left and the right and ran around the horse, making him flee, but only as he kicked out with his back legs, striking me in the head and the snout. The world went a bit, I suppose you'd call it, squiggly, and the blood from my wounds leapt upon my fur before I fell to the grassy floor. I was down for a moment, but it was only a moment before the anger of my treatment by my prey made me charge after him. Fuck, I'm fast. I caught up with the horse and sideswiped him, running my body into his and pushing him from his feet onto his side. He hit the ground and screamed as he tried to regain his feet. But it was too late. I was stood on my downed opponent's chest and grabbed the equine head, lifting it and sinking my teeth into the soft throat. I shook my head back and forth, tearing into its flesh as the animal squealed, blood pooling in my mouth. The poor horse kicked once or twice to try and get me to leave him be, but it was too late. I sat crushing the windpipe and releasing its lifeblood from its vessels. I could sense its pulse starting to slow as its body went from thrashing to tense and then relaxed. Again it was gone. It had been my first ever test. I now knew that I would have to be clever at taking down my prey in some cases. It wouldn't always be easy and straightforward as just charging in and killing. A good lesson learnt on my first kill as the werewolf. The last horse was just a little mare who stood in the corner. She had her back end to me, and it seemed she didn't want to see me. She didn't want to see what was coming. Her tail was twitching, and she was very skittish. But she wasn't going to look at me. She wasn't going to look at me, whatever it cost. I wandered over. This had been an easy kill. She was nothing like the juggernauts that I just pulled down. I smiled as I walked towards her and approached her silently like the proverbial ninja walking through long grass. This kill would only take a moment. Then I saw her move. Her back legs kicked out. One struck me in the chest and the other in the bollocks. It was a super accurate shot, and my world became a centre of pain around the area. Everything went black for a moment. I woke up naked and in my human form with Fen standing over me laughing as I tried to breathe. I just couldn't breathe. No breath would go in. I was going to die from asphyxiation. Will, relax. Will's calm. You're just winded, Will, reassured Fen. Stay calm. I lay there clutching my manhood and testicles, not wanting to look at the mess that the kick had made. One of my favourite things was my dick. I hoped I still had one. It didn't feel like it, but after the first breath or 6, all was significantly better. After a little more time in a fetal position and with the slow reduction of my agony, I sat up, still holding my bits very carefully. I asked Fen a few questions in my head. The first one being, why did you leave me and not be part of me anymore? Fen laughed, and he said, those are your balls, mate. You can deal with them and the pain. Why would I share that with you? I'm not fucking stupid. I suppose I laughed in response and thanked him a lot in a very sarcastic manner. Slowly, the pain reduced and my life became a little bit more bearable. Well, what have we learnt tonight, Will? Asked Fen. Well, being kicked in the balls is fucking awful, I replied. He laughed. And what else? Maybe to never take an opponent for granted. Be aware that even the softest of targets can surprise you. Good. Well done, said Fen. I climbed my way from the floor. Right, let's fuck this thing up now. My balls need their revenge. No, said Fen. No. That little mare taught you an important lesson. Let's leave her be. She deserves it. Thanks for listening. We're nearly at the end of the podcast. Go down to the description, support the show, follow the links, join the Facebook group. There's some very, very cool, interesting humans there. Just to finish off, I've got a poem here from Zach. Now, I don't normally do this request shite, to be honest, but as an artist, I see something in this. So here's a poem from Zach. There's that one feeling that remains the same, the one feeling of sorrow or of shame, the one that points the finger, the one that takes the blame, and the one that always remains the same. The sign for the lost and the place of the found, oh the confusion when emotion comes around. We're all lost, but to what end? Is our animalistic instinct our only true friend, the one that doesn't run or try to flee? The place of my pack is where I long to be, the place of which love really comes from me. I called the heavens and asked of the trees when the moon rises, what is to come of me? Have I been accepted or pushed away? Has nature answered, or can she not say? Will the wolf image call, or will thy image fade? Like the wolf song sounds, the shade of jade. Thanks Zachary for that, and thanks everybody for listening and supporting me. You're wonderful. Bye.
Brought to you in association with Grendel Press. This is Werewolf the Podcast, a serial killer drama.